2, Java Servlets and JSP. Part A, Java Servlet Basics. Our first topic, 8.1, our first Java web application. Yeah. All right. First, I want to show you the simplest Java web application. Yeah. We only need the minimum files to run a Java web application, hello world. Yeah. And before we do it, yeah, first I want to give you an overview description of the structure of a simple Java web application. Yeah. Let's do that. All right, so for our first Java web application, after this description, then I will use Eclipse to show you step by step how to do it. Yeah. All right. Assume that the development environment is ready. Yeah. Software installation. Yeah. So this weekend I will post 2 tutorials to guide you install the necessary software tools for this class. Yeah. After that, then you can do all these development. All right. Then in the IDE, so for this class, I recommend using Eclipse Ide. Yeah. Our textbook uses NetBeans, yeah. But here for the industry, if you use Eclipse, you will get a better chance. Yeah. Because the industry uses Eclipse much more than NetBeans. Yeah. All right. First, in the Eclipse or in IDE, yeah, because if some of you like to use NetBeans, it's okay. Yeah. Yeah. The structure exactly the same. Yeah. We create a simple web application project. Yeah. The structure, yeah, will be, set as in the specification. Yeah. All right. So we do not need to manually do that. Yeah. After that, we need to create a Java package for the servlet. Yeah. First, for the servlet, let me say a few words describe the servlet a little bit. Yeah. Servlet, it is just a special Java class. Yeah. It has the regular Java class structure, but it is special, related to request and response. It has its internal support on request and response. Yeah. 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 Internal support. Yeah. Later I will explain how to do that support. Yeah. Regular Java class file do not support request response directly. Yeah. But this one, specially designed to work inside the server environment. So we call it servlet. Yeah. All right. So in order to develop our first servlet, first we need to create a Java package for it. Yeah. Then we use the wizard, yeah, built-in wizard inside the IDE to generate a servlet skeleton class. Then we will write a code inside that skeleton class. Yeah. After that, we need to configure the servlet. Yeah. To configure it, there are 2 ways. explicit way or implicit way. Because this one, we want to do the simplest way. Implicit way is the simplest way. Yeah. Then, in the configuration, the information should be specified. But for our implicit way, something could be omitted. Yeah. For example, the servlet name is omitted, and the default servlet name is used. Yeah. So we will look at that default servlet name in our second video of this class. Yeah. All right. Next, then compile the servlet. Compile inside the IDE, this step is automatic. You don't need to do anything. The IDE usually compiles all your Java files automatically. Yeah. The last step, run the web application. So we start a server, then run the web application, and then we see the result. Okay. All right. Then another thing, before we go to the demo, another thing, welcome file. Yeah. We need a welcome file. Yeah. In my previous videos, I talk about that a little bit, welcome file. Yeah. But you may not get a very good impression. So here, let me discuss it again. Yeah. We need to look at it, use it many, many times. Then you can understand this concept better. Yeah. First, role of a welcome file. Why we use a welcome file? Yeah. For a web application, what is the first file to visit? You cannot make your users memorize any specific file name. Yeah. So we provide a welcome file. The users do not need to memorize any special thing. They just go to your server, the domain name. Yeah. Then the server can send the welcome file to the user in their first request. Yeah. That simple. Yeah. For a folder in the web, yeah. So here, because the welcome file for the whole web application. Yeah. But there is a special case, or there is some other possibilities using the welcome files. So here, remember your web application is a root folder. So you start with the root, right? Root. Under the root, you may have many branches, many directories, many files under it, right? Yeah. Now, when you go to each subdirectory, which file you should bring up to send to your user? Those files also welcome files. Welcome files with respect to individual subfolder. Yeah. The idea is the same. So each one you can, put some welcome file. Yeah. All right. So that's the case. Yeah. So these two cases. Yeah. All right. Set up multiple welcome files. You are allowed to set multiple welcome files. Yeah. Especially, you do not know what other people want to use the file names of welcome files. So usually people put several possible welcome file names in the configuration file. Yeah. Later, when I show you our first Java web application, you will see it. There is a list of welcome files. Yeah. All right. Then another concept, difference between a physical file and a logical name for a welcome file. Logical name. Yeah. All right. First, this concept, what is a logical name? Later, we will see. When we create a servlet, so we have a servlet file, yeah, but developers do not want to expose this servlet file to outside people. So the developer want to create a URL pattern for the servlet and expose URL pattern to outside users. Yeah. And this URL pattern we call a logical name, because there is no such physical folder or file name corresponds to that. So you cannot find it, the physical name of the URL pattern in your web application. Nowhere. Yeah. So that's why we call it, it's a logical name. Yeah. Physical file, you can find it somewhere in your local directory, subdirectory. You can find it somewhere. So that's the physical file. Yeah. But related to the welcome file, all right, the welcome file, there is a possibility of what do you use? Do you use a physical file or logical name? Yeah. The answer is the welcome file. You can only use a physical file name. You cannot use a logical name. Yeah. So that's the basic rule. Yeah. Here I point that out. All right. There are many things at this point because our background is not enough. So something, it could be very hard for us to understand at this point. Yeah. When we learn more and more knowledge, then we can understand better and better. Yeah. So we need many rounds of, discussion for the same topic. For example, this welcome file. Here, this is our first view of this topic. So definitely a lot of things we cannot understand completely. We need to look at this topic several times to get a very good understanding. Yeah. All right, so now let me do the demo. Yeah. Let me show you our first Java web application. Yeah. All right. Okay. So let me start my Eclipse Ide. Yeah, so right here. All right, so I tested before. Let me start my Tomcat server. Yeah. Installation configuration, follow my tutorial. So I will post 2 tutorials this weekend. Yeah. You just study. Yeah. All right. First, suppose everything is ready. So when we start, we need to create a project first. Yeah. So go to Files, New, then in this list, we select Dynamic Web Project. Okay. Then we need to give a project name. Here I just call it Hello World. Our first project, Hello World. Yeah. Then next. All right. We do not need to change anything in this screen. Next. This time, now I need to click this Generate Web.xml web deployment descriptor. Otherwise, it won't generate. If it won't generate, it's not convenient for us. So why the Eclipse provides this option? Because sometimes people want to copy people. So when they do that, they already have a existing web.xml. So they just want to drag and drop, copy their existing web, then they do not need to generate this one. Yeah. So that's the option. Finish. So you see this project node is created. All right. Next, so look at this. Web content, this folder, this node. After you open it, yeah, these two subfolders, but look at this, we don't have a welcome file. So by default, it does not create welcome file. So the first thing we need to do, we create our own welcome file. All right, so right click this node, new, so we need a welcome file, HTML as the welcome file, because we want to make it as simple as possible. So HTML file, that's the simplest, so we use it, HTML file. All right, HTML file, let's call it index.html. So that's the most common welcome file name, index.html. All right, so we can finish, so it will generate a simple HTML file. Here, so let me just put a title, Hello World. All right. Then in the body, I want to call our servlet. Yeah. We want to create a hyperlink to call our servlet. Yeah. Then you will see, how our servlet works. You want to see it. Yeah. So let me create a hyperlink to call the servlet. And the anchor, let me just call my servlet. Okay, so that's the anchor. Link, href. Okay, then the URL pattern of our servlet. Here I call it hello. Okay. Very simple. All right. Hello. Yeah. When we click this link, we will call our servlet. And then you see the output of the servlet. Yeah. So let's save this file. Okay. All right. So welcome file completes. Then I want to show you web.xml deployment descriptor file. Let me open it. All right. Now you see in this welcome file list, there is a long list. So all these file names are possible to be used as a welcome file. So if you put a list there, then the server will search from top to bottom which one matches. So the user, okay, so the user access your web application. So the server needs to provide a welcome file and a send to the user. But which file name to use? It will look at the first one, index.html. Then search the physical file, index.html, if it is under the root directory, under that, path directory, under that. If it can find it, then send it to the user. If it cannot find the first one, look at the second one, and so on, from the list. Yeah. If it cannot find anyone, then resource cannot be found, error message. Yeah. So that's the typical way. All right, so we finish the welcome file part. Next, the servlet part. Now we need to work on the servlet. So we find this Java resources node, the source node. We need to create a package first. Yeah. First, right-click the source node, new, and package. Here, this package. So let's call edu.umsl.java.servlets. How about that? Okay, yeah, our package name. Yeah. So we create a package first. All right. Then let's create a servlet inside this package. New and servlet. We use this servlet wizard to generate a servlet skeleton file. All right. Call it, we need to give a class name, hello servlet. All right. Then next. All right. Here, for the URL pattern, this is the, default generated URL pattern. But we didn't use this in our welcome file, that link. Remember, the URL pattern I use lowercase hello. It's not this one. So I need to edit. I need to change this to my real URL pattern, lowercase hello. Okay, that's my true URL pattern for the servlet. Click OK and next. All right, so selection, but I don't need to do post. I only need to do get method, and I don't need this constructor. Yeah, so that, because I want to keep it as simple as possible. Yeah. Now I can click the finish button. Then, yeah, so the servlet skeleton file is generated like this. Okay, yeah, the minimum we need. All right, now look at this line. This line, I want to make this servlet generate a string, just a hello world, right? Yeah, so that's the point. So that's the message we want to see. Hello world exclamation. The remaining, the path, yeah, we don't need that. We want to keep it as simple as possible. Save. All right, now the whole web application is done. We can start it, test it, and see the result. All right, to do it, let's right-click this project name, hello world, project name. Right-click. Okay. Then you find the run as, run on server. Okay, click, select it. Yeah. Next. Yeah. Yeah. So usually, so these two columns, all the web applications you have, but for some other, here, because usually in order to avoid conflict, sometimes if we have multiple applications here, sometimes they could have some conflict. Yeah. I mean, due to some reason, Eclipse has many bugs. Yeah. So Eclipse, sometimes its behavior is not right. Many bugs. Yeah. So in order to avoid conflict, usually when we run one web application, we want to only keep our current web application in this column. Remaining, we move to the left column. Yeah. Right column, we only keep our current. Then there is no conflict. Yeah. That's, usually that experience comes from my previous experience. Yeah. All right, now let's run it. Click Finish button. Now Tomcat starts. Takes some time. Yeah. So here, takes some time running. Yeah. At the end, an internal Eclipse web browser will be brought up. So you will see, yeah. This is an internal Eclipse web browser. Internal, not external. So not the regular Chrome, Firefox external. Yeah. This is internal one. Yeah. Internal for your testing. Yeah. Usually the internal one is not as good as external one. Yeah. But if it's good enough, if it does not give us any problem, we just use the internal one. If it gives us some problem, then we will go to the external one. Yeah. All right, so here, let me click this link, call my servlet. Click it. Now we call the servlet. That servlet return hello world, the message. That's our first Java web application. Yeah. So you see from beginning to end, the simplest. Yeah. That's all. Yeah. All right, so we finished this video.